everyone, and welcome to this yoga class where we're going to focus on mobilizing the spine. And this means we're going to focus on creating a stronger, more flexible, supple spine as we move through a range of different poses. For today's class, we're just going to need a couple of props. So if you have a cushion or a brick or a block, that would be great. And if you've got both, then just grab both. So we're going to start in a child's pose today. So it might be that you just want to grab your cushion or your block, particularly if you have a very tight spine or tight hips. You might want to start with the cushion or the block underneath the forehead. So let's come onto all fours just to begin. And as we come onto all fours, we're just going to untuck the toes and we're going to sit the bum back down onto the heels. And then from here, we're going to start to walk the hands forward. Option one is to bring a block or a cushion underneath the forehead and start to lower the forehead down towards the floor, melting the chest down into the earth. Or if you've got a lot of flexibility in the spine, then you might not need the cushion or the block, and you might just want to open the knees slightly and start to walk the fingertips forwards and start to lower the torso and the forehead all the way down towards the earth, coming into child's pose. As you come into child's pose, take a few moments to start to deepen the breath and start to send the breath in through the nose and out through the nose. With each inhale, start to allow the breath to expand the back body. And with each exhale, allow the back body to relax and to contract. So take a few moments in stillness here, allowing the breath just to relax you down into the earth. Allowing the spine and the back body to expand on the inhale. And allowing the back body and the spine just to melt down into the earth on the exhale. And with each inhale, see if you can really feel the spine lengthening, broadening as you breathe in. And as you exhale, allow the muscles around the spine just to feel looser, more elastic, more flexible. Taking a couple more moments in stillness here. Start to press the forehead down into the earth. Start to press the hips down into the earth, ready to release and ground for a few moments. Then from here, just keeping the body where it is, start to gently lower the forehead off the earth. Then start to pick up the left hand, slide it underneath the right side of the body and place your left hand on the right side of the body on the right ribs. And then once again, lower the forehead down into the earth. As you come back into child's pose, start to breathe the ribs into the left hand. So start to feel the expansion of the rib cage and the lungs breathing into the hand. And as you exhale, allow the ribs, allow the side body to contract. So feel that expansion and contraction in the left hand as you breathe the ribs into that left palm of the hand. And this is a part of the body which we don't often come into contact with. We don't often feel the ribs, the breath, the lungs as we breathe in and out. From here, start to raise the forehead back up and start to place the left hand back down onto the mat. Peeling the right hand off the mat, cross it underneath the left side of the body and place the right hand on the left side onto the left ribs. And once again, start to lower the forehead all the way down towards the floor. When you arrive in child's pose, allow the lungs, the breath to expand into that right hand. Breathing in as you feel that expansion and feel that contraction in the left side body and the left ribs. Breathing in deeply, feeling the expansion into the palm of the hand. And as you exhale, feeling that deep contraction. On the next inhale, start to lift the torso, lift the forehead gently. And then once again, start to place the right hand back out in front of you. From here, you can either keep the hands where they are, or we move into a more restorative child's pose where we walk the hands back And we start to take the arms either sides of the body, palms facing upwards, and then the forehead lowers down towards the floor, coming into a more restorative Balasana, child's pose. From here, take a moment to close the eyes, and then gently start to just massage the center of the forehead into the floor. Perhaps just rocking the forehead side to side, perhaps creating a figure of 8 shape. And as we start to massage the center of the forehead into the floor, we start to stimulate the vagus nerve. And when we stimulate the vagus nerve, it creates a restorative, relaxing and releasing effect in the whole of the body. So let's just take a few moments here in stillness. And we're going to focus on spine mobilization for our theme today. But as we move through our theme of mobilizing, energizing the spine, I want us also to focus on these 2 key themes of Satya, which is truthfulness, and Ahimsa, which translates as non-harming. So when we move through our practice, really try to be truthful with the body, listen to the body, listen to what the body needs. So at any moment you need to take rest, you can come back here into child's pose. Or if you need to just take a lesser option, think about the options, the variations that you're taking, and only take what serves you today. So listening to the Ahimsa, non-harming, and Satya, truthfulness. Remember that we're practicing yoga to serve the body rather than serving the ego. So let's take one more breath in our Balasana, massaging the head from side to side. And then from here, on our next inhale, very slowly, start to walk the hands back out in front of you. Start to lift the chest, lift the torso, and then push yourself all the way into tabletop pose. In tabletop pose, we just make sure that the hands are directly underneath the shoulders and the knees are directly underneath the hips. And just take a moment to wiggle out the hips from side to side, perhaps wiggle out the shoulders and wiggle out the head. Just finding some free movement to release the spine. Really nice. So from here we move into cat-cow. So pushing firmly into the pads of the hands to protect the wrists. We're going to start to arch the spine by looking forward and starting to radiate the chest, the heart space outwards in front of you, arching the spine. The tailbone is reaching up towards the sky. As you exhale, push into the hands and the knees and start to round the spine. Look towards the navel, the belly button, pushing firmly into the pads of the hands. As we inhale, we move back into arch the spine, moving from the tailbone, radiating the chest, the heart space forwards. And as we exhale, we ripple from the tailbone, the base of the spine, moving back to look towards the navel. So continue this movement in your own time, moving nice and slow as we start to warm up the spine. And as we move into arching the spine, we create that anterior tilt in the pelvis. And as we start to round the spine, we start to create that posterior tilt in the pelvis. See if you can allow the movement to come from the tailbone. So the tailbone, this big bone at the bottom of the spine, is the one that kind of starts the movement off. It starts the ripple in the spine. So allow the movement to be guided by this part of the body. Taking a few more in your own time. And then slowly coming all the way back to center. Really nice. From here, we move into some ripples through the spine. So take a deep inhale here in stillness and a deep exhale. So from here, we're going to inhale and we're going to start to move the bum back down towards the heels as if we were going into child's pose, and we start to arch the spine. As we exhale, we start to round the spine, push the bum down and look towards the navel. And then as we inhale, we start to tilt the tailbone, look towards the space in front of us, arch the spine, take the bum halfway down, and then pushing upwards to round the spine. So as we move back, we arch the spine, anterior tilt in the pelvis.
As we move forward, we round the spine, posterior tilt in the pelvis, look towards the tailbone, and start to move with your own flow, rippling from the tailbone, allowing the tailbone to guide and lead the movement. And perhaps you want to start to speed up the movement here, so you can create some more flow, really pushing into the pads of the hands, moving with the breath, breathing in and out through the nose, rippling through the spine, warming up the spine and the shoulders. And just take a couple more in your own time here. And then just start to come back to tabletop pose, and once again, wiggle out the hips, wiggle out the shoulders, wiggle out the head from side to side. Really nice. So from here, we come back to our tabletop pose, hands under shoulders, knees underneath hips. As we inhale, we start to stretch out the left foot behind us, toes are tucked under. We want to make sure that the hip, the knee and the toes are pointing down towards the earth. We also want to just check that the hips are level. As we inhale, we start to lift the left leg off the floor and see if you can find a straight spine from the crown of the head all the way down to the heel of that left foot. So you want to avoid arching the spine too much or rounding, so we're focusing on that straight spine, that energy moving from the crown of the head all the way to the tailbone. Take a deep inhale in here, and as you exhale, start to lower the left toes down towards the floor. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. And if you're feeling any pain or sensitivity in the wrists, then feel free to always come down onto the forearms if this feels better for you, and lift and lower the leg with the forearms down. Breathing in and breathing out. Let's take 2 more in our own time here. And then eventually we bend that left knee, we come all the way back to center, and we start to wiggle out the hips from side to side. Breathing in and breathing out. Really nice. So we do the same on the other side. As we inhale, we outstretch the right leg behind us. Right toes are flexed in contact with the earth. Hips are level. The knee, the hip and the toe is pointing down towards the earth. Push firmly into the pads of the hands. Inhale, lift the right foot off the floor, and visualize that straight spine from the crown of the head all the way down to the heel of that right foot. Inhale, and as you exhale, let's tap that right toe on the floor as we exhale. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Starting to move in your own time with the breath. Engaging the core here, starting to build some strength in the glutes, but keeping that spine straight. So let's take 2 more. And then on the next exhale, let's bend that right knee, set it back down, and just come to wiggle out the hips for a few seconds. And then from here, we're going to tuck the toes under. We're going to walk the hands back, and we're going to come to sit either on the toes, if that feels nice for you, or if that's too much, you can untuck the toes and come to sit the bum down onto the heels. So wherever you are, we're going to move into some wrist warm-ups. So start to circle the wrists around, starting to warm up the wrists, releasing any tension, changing direction of the wrist circles, breathing in and breathing out, changing direction. And then from here, you're going to just bring the palms of the hands together, and then you're going to just clasp and interlace the fingers and bring the palms of the hands together. We then start to create a figure of 8 shape with the wrists, once again starting to warm up the hands and the wrists, breathing in and breathing out. And if you're standing on the toes, feel free at any point just to release the toes and come to sit back down. And then last wrist warm up. Let's take the hands out wide, palms facing in front of you. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, start to create fists. And then start to increase the speed, warming up the fingers and the wrists as we move into some more strengthening poses, particularly working into the wrists and the forearms today.
So let's take a couple more here. Maybe speeding up, really speeding up this movement, really working into the forearms and the wrists and the fingers. And then just come to shake out the wrists. Really nice. And then let's come all the way back into our tabletop pose. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees directly underneath the hips. And we visualize that straight spine from the crown of the head all the way down to the tailbone. So we want to avoid arching or rounding. We want to honour the natural curves of the spine by finding a neutral spine. So on the next inhale, let's straighten the left leg behind us as we did before, and the left toes are in contact with the earth. Take a deep inhale and a deep exhale. On the next inhale, lift the left leg behind you. Option 1 is to stay here, and you can practice lifting and lowering as you did before. If you want to take it further to option 2, you keep that left leg lifted and you outstretch the right hand in front of you so that the right fingertips are reaching out in front of you and the left heel is flexed, the left foot is flexed, reaching behind you. Option 2 is to stay here, or if you want to take it further, we move into some waves. So we inhale here, and as we exhale, we bend the left knee and the right elbow when we bring it to meet in center. As we inhale, we straighten, straight spine. And as we exhale, we bend. As we inhale, we straighten. And as we exhale, we bend. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. Inhale to straighten. And then let's set the foot and the hand all the way down. Wiggle out the hips from side to side. And take a deep inhale and a deep exhale. Really nice. So we continue on the other side. As we inhale, we outstretch the right toes behind us. And as we exhale, we lift the right toes off the floor. Option 1 is to continue lifting and lowering as you did before. Or option 2 is to keep the right leg lifted and then peel the left fingers off the floor and straighten out the arm in front of you so the fingers are shining forward. Visualize once again that straight spine from the crown of the head all the way to the tailbone. Push firmly into the pads of the hands of the right wrist. And option 2 is to stay here. If you want to take it further into option 3, take a deep inhale. And as we exhale, bend the left elbow and bring it towards the right knee to meet in center. Inhale to straighten. Flex the right toes. Exhale to bend. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. Let's take one more. Inhale to straighten. And as we bend, let's start to take the hand and the knee down towards the floor and wiggle out the hips, wiggle out the shoulders from side to side. Really nice. So from here, we're going to swing the legs over towards the right and we're going to come to sit onto the bum. So as we come into easy pose, I would recommend starting to just raise and elevate your seat. So option to place a cushion underneath the seat or option to place a block. Now when we come into easy pose, into a seated position, we want to try to make sure that first of all the spine is straight, and we do this by making sure the knees are slightly lower than the hips. So if the knees are lifting up or the spine is rounding, we need to just increase the amount of height under the seat. So it might be that you want to take a block, a couple of books even, or a couple of cushions. So find that really nice straight spine and just take a moment here in easy pose to place the palms of the hands down onto the knees, the thighs, and just come to close the eyes. As we come to our pose, I want us to just start to take our attention to the spine. Taking your attention to that base of the spine, the bone at the bottom of the spine, and just visualizing a beam of light moving from the base of the spine down into the earth. So moving from the tailbone down into the earth, allowing the spine to straighten and feel rooted and grounded down. At the same time, take your attention to this beam of light moving up through the spine. And as the beam of light moves towards
the crown of the head. Just allow it to move out the crown of the head and up towards the sky. And as it moves upwards, it allows the spine to straighten, to elongate, to elevate up towards the sky, towards the sun. So we have this beautiful straight spine. Take one more deep inhale. And as you exhale, start to blink open the eyes. Really nice. So we're going to come into some seated twists here. So as we inhale, we start to raise the arms up towards the ceiling. Palms are facing inwards, shoulders are relaxed down. And as you exhale, start to place the left hand, option 1, on the lower lumbar spine. Or if it's available, you can take the fingertips down towards the earth. Place the right hand either on the thigh, the knee, or option 2, you can take the outside of the right hand to the outside of the left knee, and that really will deepen the twist. Take a moment here to inhale and a moment to exhale. As you inhale, raise the arms back up towards the ceiling, shoulders are relaxed, spine is lengthening. And as you exhale, twist towards the right. So the right hand goes either onto the lower spine, onto the floor. The left hand goes either on the thigh, the knee, or to deepen the twist, the outside of the left hand goes to the outside of the right knee. Take a deep inhale and a deep exhale. So we start to create a flow. As we inhale, we raise the arms up towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, we start to twist. Inhale up towards the ceiling. Exhale, twist towards the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. And start to move in your own time with the breath. As you twist, if you feel that the breath is becoming restricted, then the twist is too deep, and just start to kind of lessen the twist. So you want to be able to breathe fully in your twist, not holding or restricting any of the breath, any of the lungs. Let's take 4 more like this on our own time. And when you've done 4, you can just come back to your easy pose. From here, we move into our side stretches. So as we inhale, we bring the arms up towards the sky. And as we exhale, we release the left fingertips down towards the floor. Either fingertips or palms of the hands go down, depending on the length of the spine and the flexibility in the sides of the body. Take a deep inhale. As we exhale, start to lift the right fingers towards the sky and then lean towards the left, slightly bending the left elbow. Inhale, come back to center, both arms up. And as you exhale, lower the right fingertips or the right hand down and start to lean the left hand over towards the right side of the body. Inhale, center. Exhale, lean left. Inhale, center. Exhale, lean right, starting to move in your own time with the breath. As you start to stretch, make sure that the chest, the heart space is shining upwards towards the sky. So you want to avoid rounding the chest and the spine forward, and you want to lift the arm, lift the chest, so the heart space is reaching upwards towards the sky. So let's take a couple more in our own time, stretching into the sides of the body, the sides of the waist into the obliques. And then on the next inhale, let's bring the arms all the way down to the thighs. So next we're going to combine those 2 movements. We're going to combine the twists and the side stretches. So as we inhale, we take the arms up. As we exhale, we twist to the left. Left arm goes down behind us, right hand to leg. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist right. Inhale, center. This time we lean to the left, side stretch. Inhale, center. Exhale, lean to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, center. Lean to the left. Inhale, center. Lean to the right. Let's take 1 more flow in our own time. Lengthening the spine. Breathing into the sides of the body. The sides of the ribs. Breathing into that space that we connected with in our child's pose at the start of the practice. And then eventually when we finish that round, we come all the way back to our seated position and we come to relax the hands down onto the knees, onto the thighs. Really nice. So from here, just take a moment to release the block or the cushion from underneath the seat. And then we just start to release the hips and the spine by coming into windshield wiper legs. So bring the heels out in front of you in contact with the earth. Toes are flexed. Take a deep inhale, and as we exhale, start to rock the knees from side to side. Gently releasing the hips. Gently releasing the spine. Breathing in and breathing out. And then we start to take our twists in the spine a bit deeper. So we start to rock the knees all the way down to the earth. So both knees come down to the right and both knees come down to the left, feeling that deeper twist in the spine. And then from here, we add on. So this time when we twist over towards the left, we pick up the right hand and we sweep the right arm round and we start to breathe into the right side ribs, the right side of the body, the right obliques. And then we twist all the way to the right and we do exactly the same. Knees on the floor, we scoop the arm round and we open that left side of the body. Really nice. Inhaling to twist. Exhaling to release. Inhaling to twist. Exhaling to release. And start to move in your own time with your breath. Feeling that opening, expansion in the sides of the body, the side ribs. Once again, that place that we came into contact with at the start of the practice. And then just coming back to center, we're going to add on one final time. So either you can just continue with your flows that you've been doing, or as you bring the knees down and you bring the arm over, you then raise yourself up onto your front, your top knee, your left knee, and you push that hip outwards, and you really breathe into that right side of the body. We come all the way back round as we inhale. And as we exhale, we scoop the left arm over, we push the hips upwards and outwards, and we really feel that opening in the left side of the body. So if this doesn't feel good and it's too much, then stay with option 3. But just take a few moments to flow, and perhaps you really want to speed up the movements here. Really finding your own flow, moving with the breath. And I'm going to give you a couple more seconds to really move through that. Perhaps even if you want to close the eyes and to play with balance, really pushing through that hip to really open the side of the body, breathing into the ribs, feeling that full expansion, the side of the body and the side of the ribs. Really nice. And then eventually just coming all the way back to center and just taking a moment in stillness here. Really nice. So from here we come back into tabletop pose. So just swing the knees round to the side and come to stand on the hands. So hands under the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. So we start to prepare for our downward facing dog. So to do this, we want to take the pressure out of the wrists to protect them. So we push into the pads of the hands and we create a slight gripping motion with the fingers, and we start to just gently grip the mat. We tuck the toes under and we take a deep inhale. And as we exhale, we feel that lengthening in the spine, the tailbone rooting outwards towards the back of the room, the crown of the head reaching forward. As we inhale, we start to lift the knees, and as we exhale, we lower. Remembering that if there's any pain or sensitivity in the wrist, we come onto the forearms and we lift and we lower. So let's take a couple more here in our own time. Lifting and lowering. Either with wrists or forearms down onto the floor. And then let's just take a moment to rest here. So we're going to add on. So as we inhale, we lift the knees once more. And then as we exhale, we twist left. And then we come all the way back down. So inhale, lift, exhale, twist. And then come all the way back down. So just have a go at playing, lifting and twisting. It might be that you want to bring the knees slightly closer if you feel like they're kind of slipping away. And just play around with your own speed. Really building some heat, some strength, some fire, some agony into the body, into the core, into the arms. So let's take a couple more in our own time. Really starting to engage the core, but also straightening the spine at the same time. And then come all the way back down to tabletop pose. So from here, we're going to move into down dog. So we tuck the toes under, we push into the pads of the hands. We allow the spine to straighten. Take a deep inhale. And as we exhale, we start to lift the knees, and then we start to walk the feet back slightly, coming to straighten the legs, pedaling one leg and then the other, moving one heel slightly closer towards the floor. Visualization of kneading the dough that we're often thinking about here. So kneading the dough with the heels. Nice and slow to begin with our first downward dog of the day, or perhaps not. But first downward dog of the practice. Breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the nose. And the intention of our down dog is to keep the spine lengthened and straight. So we can keep the knees as bent as we need as long as the spine is lengthening. Let's take a moment in stillness here. So bend the knees as much as you need and really push into the hands to straighten the spine. And it's only once the spine is straight that then we start to even think about lowering one heel and then the other, and maybe both heels. Take a deep inhale and a deep exhale. Deep inhale, and as you exhale, start to lower the knees down all the way to the floor. We come into child's pose. Bring the big toes to touch. Sit the bum down towards the heels, perhaps widen the knees slightly. And then start to lower the torso down, and perhaps the forehead comes down onto a block, a cushion, or perhaps onto a mat. And take a few moments here just to rest in child's pose. Option to take the hands out in front of you. A more active stretch here in the shoulders and the armpits. Or if you want to go for more restorative balasana, take the arms either sides, palms facing upwards. But wherever you are, just take a moment to rest here. Reconnect back with the breath, deepening the inhale and deepening the exhale. Once again, take the attention back to the spine and see if you can visualize the inhale lengthening and expanding the spine. And as you exhale, allowing the spine and the back body to become more flexible, more elastic. Inhaling to really expand the spine and exhaling to contract and really loosen and relax the spine. And once again, you might want to play around with just massaging the center of the forehead, stimulating the vagus nerve here. Focusing on the breath, allowing the body to come into some stillness. Allowing the hips to become heavy down into the earth. Allowing the shoulders to become heavy down into the earth. So from here, let's start to deepen the breath. And on the next inhale, let's slowly start to come back to our tabletop pose, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Take a moment to wiggle the hips, find any free movement that serves the spine, the neck, the shoulders, just to release any tension. Really nice. So from here, we move back into our downward facing dog. So let's set ourselves up. Palms of the hands flat to the floor, pushing into the pads of the hands, creating that gripping motion to protect the wrists. We tuck the toes under. We take a deep inhale. And as we exhale, we start to lift the knees and we start to walk the heels back down towards the mat, pedaling out the feet, kneading the dough. Now, we're going to move into some down dog waves. So let's just bring the knees back down towards the floor because I'm going to give you two options. So option is to stay and do this next sequence in tabletop. And if you're staying in tabletop, you maybe even want to use the forearms, especially if the wrists are sensitive or if there's any pain. So if you're staying in tabletop today, you're going to lift the left leg and you're going to be bringing the left nose towards the left knee towards the nose. And you're going to be bending and straightening on both sides, working into the spine into the hamstrings, into the shoulders. Or option 2, if you're moving into the full sequence, you're coming into downward facing dog and you're lifting the left leg behind you, toes are flexed, you're pushing into the pads of the hands, and as you exhale, you're bending that left knee and taking it towards the nose. So take which option serves you today, and then wherever you are, let's play around with creating 6 knee to nose waves. And then on your 7th one, you're going to lift the left leg, flex the left toes, and as you exhale, you're going to step the left foot in between the hands, frame that front foot, and then we slowly lower the back right knee all the way down. Place the hands onto the hips, push into that front foot, hinge from the hips, and come to lift the torso as you come into Anjaneyasana low lunge. Really nice. So from here, let's set ourselves up. So hands onto the hips. We just want to check that that left knee is slightly behind the left ankle. So we want to avoid kind of overstretching and hanging out in the hips. So let's use the core, use the strength of the feet and the legs to push ourselves up so we can see that left big toe. We take the left hand and we place it to the bottom of the spine. And if we feel where the tailbone is, and we visualize the tailbone lengthening down towards the floor, avoiding arching the spine or rounding. We relax the shoulders down away from the ears. And we take a moment in stillness. Perhaps feeling that stretch in the in the right quadricep and the right hip flexor. On the next inhale, start to open out the arms by taking the arms out wide. And as you exhale, start to bring the hands into prayer and drag them through the body. Inhale to circle the arms up, out and round. And as you exhale, dragging them down through the body. Continuing in your own time, moving with the breath as you inhale to rise. And as you exhale to lower. Inhaling to rise. Exhaling to lower. Once again, visualizing that beautiful straight spine from the crown of the head all the way to the tailbone. And perhaps you want to start to look upwards, gaze upwards, to look at the hands and then bring them and drag them back down. And let's reverse the movement of the hands. So this time the prayer moves upwards, so we reverse the circle. Breathing in and out through the nose. And then eventually we bring the arms back up to center, palms facing inwards. Take a deep inhale. And as we exhale, start to open out the chest by taking the left palm out behind you and the right palm in front of you. So we come into a spinal twist. Inhale back to center. Exhale, spinal twist. Really nice. Inhale back to center. Exhale, spinal twist. We do one more. Inhale, center. And as we exhale, we come into our spinal twist. Inhale back to center. And as we exhale, let's frame the front foot. Lift the back right knee off the floor. We come into a lunge. See if you can plant the palms down onto the floor and then step the left foot all the way back into downward facing dog. Or if this is too much, option to step it back to tabletop pose. So you choose the option that's best for you today. Either you're in tabletop or you're in downward facing dog. Wherever you are, take a moment to either pedal out the feet in down dog or wiggle out the spine in tabletop. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath here. Inhaling and exhaling. Really nice. And then coming into some stillness. So wherever you are, down dog or tabletop, we're going to lift the right leg out behind us. We're going to flex the right toes. As we exhale, we bend that right knee. We bring it to meet the nose in the center. Inhale to stretch the right toes up. You can start to point or flex the right toes. And as you exhale, bring the knee to the nose. Inhale. Remember, we're doing 6 on this side. Exhale, center. Pushing into the pads of the hands to protect the wrists. Exhale, center. So whenever you've done your 6th one, you're going to make sure you do a 7th, but then as you come to end your 7th, you step the right foot in between the hands. If you're in tabletop, you still do the same. You lower the left knee all the way down to the floor. Place the hands onto the hips and raise the torso, hinge from the hips as you come into Anjaneyasana, low lunge, really nice. So let's set ourselves up in our correct alignment. Checking that right knee is behind the right heel, so we're not overstretching. We can see that big right toe. We just visually take our attention to our tailbone. We imagine it lengthening down, so we're not arching the spine. We're relaxing the shoulders, and we just take a moment in stillness, perhaps feeling the opening in the left quadricep and the left hip flexor. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, start to open out the arms and start to circle the arms. And once you reach the top, look upwards and start to drag the hands into prayer through the body. Inhale, circling. Exhale, dragging. Inhale, circling. Exhale, dragging through. Then start to move with your own time, with your own breath in your own time. And perhaps you want to start to change the direction of the hand circles, this time moving upwards through the center of the body, creating a prayer with the hands. Rotating the shoulders. Breathing in, really nice, and breathing out. On the next inhale, let's take the hands up to center so palms are facing inwards. Take a deep inhale, and this time as we exhale, let's take the right palm out in front of us and the left palm behind us as we come into that full spinal twist. I'm just going to move my position. Really nice. As we inhale, we move back to center. And as we exhale, we move to the opposite side. We come back to center. And this time we twist to the opposite side. Let's do 2 more in your own time here. Really breathing deep in through the nose and out through the nose, really starting to lengthen the spine, feeling the chest opening and expanding. And then as you come back, let's start to bring the arms up towards the sky and frame that front foot. Lift the back knee off the floor and then step it all the way back into downward facing dog, or feel free to step it back to tabletop pose. So whichever you're in, let's just start to take a moment either to pedal out the feet in down dog or wiggle out the spine if you're in tabletop. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. So we're gonna meet, so everybody's gonna meet in our downward facing dog. So if you're in tabletop, let's meet in downward facing dog just for a few moments. And then from our down dog, we're going to walk the feet closer towards the hands, towards the front of the mat, just a small amount. When we get here, we bend the knees and we start to clasp opposite elbows and we start to rock from side to side, releasing the head, release the crown of the head down towards the earth, rocking from side to side, inhaling and exhaling. Really nice. From here, release the hands, place the hands onto the hips, push firmly into the feet. You're going to lift up by hinging from the hips, use the glutes to come all the way up to standing to mountain pose Tadasana. Really lovely. From here, we're going to come to face the long edge of the mat. We take the feet out wider than the hips, and we're going to take the toes pointing outwards and the heels pointing in as we start to prepare for goddess pose. So as we come into our goddess pose, we want to check that the knees, as we bend the knees are going over the toes. So just take a moment to just bend and straighten the knees. And when you look down, just try to see that the knees are pushing outwards and moving directly over the feet and the toes. What we want to avoid is the knees drooping inwards. So we use the inner thighs and we push the inner thighs outwards
so that the knees are going directly over the toes. Really nice. So let's come to straighten the legs. From here, we're going to take a deep inhale. And as we exhale, we place the hands on the thighs and we start to bend the knees, checking that the knees are directly over the toes. We push the inner thighs outwards and we place the hands into prayer at the heart space. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, straighten the legs. Inhale to bend. Exhale to straighten. Moving in your own time. Inhale to bend. And exhale to straighten. And as you move through these waves, see if you can once again visualize that straight spine from the crown of the head all the way down to the tailbone. Let's take 3 more in our own time, building heat, fire, strength in the glutes and in the thighs. And then we come all the way back up to standing. Really nice. So from here, we're going to move again with the legs, but we're going to start to create some arm waves. So as we inhale, we bend the legs and we start to circle the arms. And as we exhale, we meet the hands into prayer and we straighten the arms and the legs. As we inhale, we bend the legs, take the arms up into a circle. And as we exhale, the palms meet and we drag them all the way back down. So start to move in your own time with the breath. Circling the hands, rotating the shoulders, keeping that spine long and straight. The tailbone still reaches down towards the earth. This time we're going to change the hands. So this time as we bend, the hands go upwards. And as we straighten, they come round. So as we bend, they go up. And as we straighten, we take them round in a circle. Nice. Taking a few moments to really reconnect with the breath, moving with the breath, allow the breath to guide the movement. And then let's come all the way back to straighten the legs. Place the hands on the hips and just wiggle the hips from side to side. Maybe you just want to even release the feet a little bit. You can shake out the feet if that feels nice. Maybe you want to just shake out the shoulders. Breathe in through the nose and maybe out through the mouth. Let that go, let that sequence go. And we're going to move into a different variation of goddess pose. So once again, let's find our alignment. Legs are wider than hip width, toes out, heels in. And we're going to keep the knees straight, the legs straight to begin, but perhaps just keep a nice micro bend in the knee because we want to kind of avoid really pulling into the knee, especially if you've got hypermobility. You really want just a slight bend in the knees to protect the knee joints. Then from here, we take the hands into cactus. So we create 2 right angles here. And then from here, if you want to stay here, you can stay here. And you can practice doing the next sequence with cactus arms, or flip the left hand down. And you're going to rotate the shoulder down so that the left palm is facing the back wall behind you. So we come into what I call a zigzag arms. Then we're just going to practice swapping the zigzag. So this time we flip right hand down and left arm comes up. So we're still creating those right angles, but we're swapping. And you might want to start to incorporate the head a little bit, creating a little bit of a dance, a bit of a groove, working into the neck and the shoulders, breathing in. Really nice. And breathing out. Beautiful. And then from here, let's come all the way back to center. Keep your zigzag on whichever side, but once again, we're going to take our attention to the legs and the feet. We come back into goddess pose. So knees over the toes as we bend the knees. We push the inner thighs outwards. And as we inhale, we start to swap the arms. And as we exhale, we just continue moving and then start to incorporate the movement of the head, perhaps in the neck. And we're going to take 4 deep breaths here. So take it as slow or as quickly as you want to. Maybe you want to slow it right down. So 1 final breath. And then as you come to your final breath, keep the knees bent and take the arms back to cactus. As we inhale, we straighten the legs, straighten the arms. And as we exhale, we bend everything back down. Really nice. Last little flow here. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. We're doing so well. Stick with it. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. Inhale. Looking upwards this time. Exhale as we come down. Inhale, looking up. Exhale down. Let's take 2 more like this. And as you exhale, we come into our final one. This time, just keep the hands here. Option if it's too much, just come to straighten the legs. Or if you want to move with me, stay in goddess and let's just wiggle the hips from side to side. Last bit of fun. Just try and smile and just laugh it off if it feels too much. Maybe some shaking, some burning. Take a deep inhale, and as you exhale, straighten the arms, the legs, and then come to shake out the wrists. Shake out the feet, shake out the arms, really nice. Shake out everything. Take a moment to find some free flow here, and then start to wiggle the hips from side to side, so you're creating like a figure of 8 shape. So figure of 8 shape all the way around. Really nice. And just start to release the hips and slow it right down. So we're going to come into our final standing pose, into Tadasana. So we come to take the feet either hip width apart if that feels nice for you, or you can bring the feet together and you're going to take the palms of the hands out in front of you, arms by the sides of the body. From here, root the feet down, perhaps pick the toes up if that feels nice. Splay the toes and place them down so you really feel that connection with the feet and the earth. Equally distribute your weight into all 4 corners of the feet, the balls of the feet, the outer ball of the feet, the inner heel, the outer heel. And just take a deep inhale, and as you exhale, relax the shoulders down and close the eyes in mountain pose. Keeping a slight micro bend in the knees just to protect the knees. And just come into a moment of stillness here into Tadasana, our strong, stable mountain pose. Take a moment to reconnect back with the breath. Visualize that tailbone once again rooting down towards the sky. Really nice. So from here we're going to just take a deep inhale and we're going to swing the arms outwards and upwards towards the sky. We're going to stretch the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Once again, feeling the tailbone lengthening down while the fingertips are reaching, so that play of opposites here. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, start to bend the knees and swan dive the arms round and start to hinge from the hips, and then start to take the fingertips down towards the mat once more, coming into forward fold, Uttanasana. From here, make sure the feet are hip width apart, and then just start to rock the weight from side to side, from the outer feet to the inner feet, releasing the hamstrings and the glutes here, releasing the spine. Now just start to release the neck, and so that the crown of the head reaches and roots towards the floor. Decompressing the neck and decompressing the spine here. Let's take 2 more breaths. Rocking the head, releasing it, finding some free movement here. Really, really nice. On the next inhale, just start to bend the knees and place the palms of the hands flat to the floor. So we take a deep inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to start to step the left foot all the way back so the toes are flexed. Now we're going to move into plank pose. If plank's going to be too much today, then you can set the knees down and you can move back into tabletop pose, okay? If you're moving into plank, we keep that left leg outstretched behind us. We take a deep inhale. And as we exhale, we take the right foot all the way back to meet the left. We bring the toes to touch and the heels to touch. We make sure that we're not sticking the bum into the air and we're not sinking the hips down, but we're pushing firmly into the pads of the hands and we're creating that beautiful straight spine. At any point, there's an option to lower the knees down if it all gets too much. Let's take 1 deep breath in here. And as we exhale, let's lower the torso down in between the hands as we come all the way down onto our bellies.
When we get onto our bellies, you can lower the right side of the face down towards the floor and just start to shake out the hips, shake out the feet, shake out the shoulders. And you can close the eyes for a few seconds here, anything that feels nice. Perhaps this time take the left side of the face to the mat, releasing the neck, the cervical spine. Really nice. Then from here, we move into just a nice steady back bend. So start to lift the head and the chest a small amount and start to walk the hands, the forearms out in front of you. So the forearms are flat to the floor, the palms of the hands are flat, and the forearms are parallel. So the chest is lifted off the mat and the tops of the feet are in contact with the earth. The tailbone is reaching down towards the feet. So we come into Sphinx pose. So for this, we try to just gently, we keep the arms where they are, but we try to gently create this pulling motion. So as if we were pulling the palms back and pushing the hips forwards, we start to lift the chest a small, subtle amount. Nothing big, no big movements here. Feel that gentle opening in the back body, in the heart space, in the chest. Let's take 2 deep breaths here in our Sphinx pose. Option to take it further, you can stay here in Sphinx, or perhaps you just want to start to press into the hands and lift the elbows off the floor, coming into a deeper back bend. Tailbone is still reaching down towards the feet. Take a deep inhale, and as you exhale, lower the elbows down, and then let's start to straighten out the arms, and we come to roll all the way around on our spine. So as we come onto our backs, let's take a moment to bring the feet off the floor, the knees are bent, and we're just going to place the hands on top of the knees, and we start to release the spine by drawing some circles, by taking the knees away from each other and then back round as we draw circles with the knees and with the hands, massaging the lumbar, lower spine. Inhaling and exhaling. From here we change direction and we start to move the knees forwards. Really nice. And then we come back to our central position. So we're going to come into one final spinal twist. So we're going to straighten the left leg and flex the left toes. We're going to place the hands on top or in front of that right knee and just start to squeeze the right knee into the chest and just gently rock it from side to side. So for the next pose, you might just want to grab your cushion or grab your block and place it on the left side because we might want to bring the knee down. So as we're rocking that right knee, just massaging the lower back, make sure you've got your block handy in case you need it. Keeping those left toes flexed. Take a deep inhale. And as we exhale, place the right hand on the floor and start to guide the right knee over towards the left side with the left hand and cross that right knee down either onto a block or a cushion, if that feels nice. Or perhaps you want to take it further and you want to see if you can take the knee down towards the floor. Wherever you're going with this, see if you can bring the arms out into a T shape. Feel that deep opening in the chest, twisting in the spine. We come into a supine twist. Option to close the eyes here. If the mobility in the neck allows, then you can start to twist the head and look towards the right hand. But wherever you are, start to take some really deep breaths here. If you feel this, the breath is restricted, just start to lessen the twist by bringing the knee slightly closer towards the body. But see if we can just take a moment to inhale and exhale. On the next inhale, bring the right knee all the way back and start to slowly lower it down to straighten the right leg, and then start to bring the left knee in towards the chest. Then place the block or the cushion on the opposite side on the right side. Clasp the hands outside the left knee and just gently rock the knee from side to side, massaging the lower lumbar spine, releasing that left hip. Take a deep inhale, and as you exhale, place the left hand on the floor next to you and start to guide that left knee over towards the right, down onto a block, a cushion, or perhaps the floor. And then start to bring the arms out into a T shape, palms facing upwards, feeling that deep opening in the chest, in the heart space, and that deep twist in the in the spine. And see if you can keep that right foot flexed. Option to close the eyes here if that feels nice, or soften the gaze. Option to look towards the left hand if the mobility in the neck allows. Wherever you are, take a few deep inhales and a few deep exhales, remembering to back away from the twist if it's too much and bring the knee away and closer towards the body. Let's take one more deep inhale in here. And as we exhale, let's start to slowly come all the way back. And we take one final squeeze of the knees in towards the chest, rocking the knees from side to side. One final spinal rock. If there's any other pose or any other kind of happy baby or twist that you'd like to do in the last few moments, then please feel free to take anything that serves you as we start to move to our final relaxation pose into Shavasana. So whenever you're ready, you can clear your props away and you can start to straighten the legs. As you come into Shavasana, option to come to lie straight with the legs straight to the floor, or option to bend the knees and keep the knees bent and keep the knees upwards, and you can lean them in towards each other, particularly if you have any sensitivity in the lower back. Palms can be facing upwards towards the sky, or you can place the hands on the chest or the belly. So wherever you are, legs straight, legs bent, perhaps a cushion underneath the head, perhaps a rolled up blanket underneath the knees in Shavasana. Let's take a moment just to slow the breath right down. Once again, sending that inhale into the back body, allowing the back body to expand and allowing the back body to contract. With each inhale, bring a sense of energy, awareness into the spine, and with each exhale, allow the spine just to release and become more flexible, more elastic. Try to release any gripping in the jaw or any tension in the forehead, relaxing the heels, the hips, the shoulders and the wrists. Taking your attention to that space between the eyebrows, the third eye. And see if you can allow yourself a few moments in silence and in stillness. So I invite you to stay here for as long as you need today. So I invite you to stay here for another 3, 5, 10 minutes, for as long as your day allows. The longer the Shavasana, the better. Or if you're moving with me today and you want to move to finish the practice, then just slowly start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. And slowly start to bring the knees towards the chest, rocking slowly from side to side, perhaps keeping the eyes closed. One last chance to massage the lumbar spine and slowly rolling onto one side, using the arms to support you. Take a deep inhale, allowing the blood pressure to restabilize. And as you exhale, you can start to push yourself back up into a seated position, taking the hands into prayer at the heart space, bowing the forehead down towards the fingertips. Take a moment of gratitude to thank yourself for practicing, for respecting and honouring your body and your mind. I hope you enjoyed the practice. Namaste and have a brilliant rest of your day. Thank you.